meeting started.
All right, we'll call the meeting order at 5:02:03.
5:03? All right, you got it.
Roll call.
Okay, Kathy Mitchell,
I'm here.
Lynn Larson,
Here.
Randy Neese here. Tony Baker, yeah. Hannah Daniels,
She is. She might just be listening right now.
she's not coming in.
No, she's on Zoom. She said she is just going to be a little late due to traffic. So, but she is in Zoom. I'm sure she's just listening right now.
Okay. With sort of.
That's very.
Rick
Specific.
Kirkhab. Amy Lentz, going once, going twice. Sean Murphy. And Paul Furness,
So I believe we have a quorum.
barely.
We made it. Are there any corrections to the minutes?
Yes, it was
Okay.
huge error at the end of it.
Oh, Monday, July.
Okay.
I thought it said Monday, July 7th, or it said July 17th instead of 15th. It should be the 15th.
Okay.
We'll correct that.
So I leave an Easter egg in each of these meeting notes to see if anybody finds it.
Make sure everybody's reading
Huh?
them. Make sure everybody's reading them.
Can we have a motion to approve the minutes as amended?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Second?
I second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Okay, we've approved those minutes. We move on to public comment on agenda items. I don't see any public right now. Is there any public online? Okay. Discussion items. Cemetery expansion tree list review.
Yeah. So, I don't know if you guys are aware, but we are expanding the cemetery here in town, the Green Lawn Cemetery, out east. That big tract of land to the west of it is actually also owned by the city,
Oh.
and it was probably, just kept until this inevitable day when the cemetery needs a little extra space. So that's what it looks like right now. These are the designs are being worked on by Link. Those are the same people who are doing our Arboretum review. And so Keith asked me to bring just the tree list and kind of just show you guys the design for the new western half of the new cemetery. So taking all that all the way to the next fence line, some new plots and all that stuff. Not many roads. I guess this will be kind of an alternative turnaround, drop-off point, whatever. But a lot of the trees are going to be next to the roads. It looks like not so much, interspersed. It does make, as we've learned down here, trees interspersed with the planting site or the resting sites get a little
Depends on your point of view.
yeah, exactly. Get a little tough, especially when the trees get bigger. So I think the layout looks pretty good. The
Columbarium is gonna go in there. Number 7.
yeah. Oh my gosh, I did send out the sorry guys, everything I brought. I forgot to bring the tree list, but I did send it out with that email. I don't know if anybody had
Just big one.
oh, there we go. If you want to pass that around, if anyone needs a refresher, when it started, I think actually that was a list I just went on a different design. It's really just a list of trees I pulled off of the Front Range recommended tree list, and kind of steered away from some of the more like experimental ones. So those are like real tried and true trees that I gave them. nothing's, like I said, too weird and niche. So I don't know how they're going to arrange the plantings. I mean, judging by their dots here, it might be a mixing of shade trees and smaller ornamental trees interspersed. But yeah, I mean, if there's any other, again, like I know we're so limited with our tree palette here in town, but if there's any other suggestions for different trees to try, maybe some new varieties on the scene you guys have heard anything good about, anything like that. I wouldn't take down any notes, but anything that might not fit with a cemetery, I can't think of. It's what we have at our cemetery is really good. It just, whenever it started, it could have used a little more foresight with the planting, but that's going back 100 years or so.
Wow.
So now we have the,
Well, I guess depending on where they would be planted, I've received a lot of complaints about our Kentucky coffee trees that we have planted down along Fifth Street. I mean, those were planted by the developer, but they just take forever to start to
They
even
do.
look halfway decent.
Yeah.
And I guess, that wouldn't be something I think that would be favorable in the cemetery if you're looking for something to fill out in the first couple of years that they're planted.
Yeah, they take 4 or 5 years.
Well, even then, I mean,
Yeah.
some of those trees, if you go down there, they've been in there for 5 years
They're
and they're
still
just,
pretty adolescent.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
barely getting a top on them, so.
yeah, and I've actually had some discussions with homeowners. Some just thought they got a really bad tree from the nursery. I'm like, no, that's just how they look, and they're
Until they're 10 or 15 years.
yeah, and then they just barely start to look like a tree. But I think those are going to be one of those long run trees. Oh, Tony just joined us. That's going to be one of those like real long run trees where, like an oak, where
Mhm.
they
Yep.
really come into themselves later in life.
Yeah,
They're-
15 to 20 years, basically. Yeah.
There's actually a couple really mature Kentucky coffee trees right around the corner from where I live in Loveland, and they look great. Like at times I'm like, oh man, that's such a beautiful tree, and I have to remind myself that's a Kentucky coffee because once they grow out of that adolescent weird twiggy phase, they really start to look like a really nice tree. I thought you were actually going to say something about the seed pods, because the seed pods are pretty irritating when they start dropping all winter long.
Well, that was one of the other suggestions, that there's seed pods, trees on that list that probably wouldn't be a good thing for the cemetery.
Yeah.
The topic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I have heard of a seedless Kentucky coffee tree or podless Kentucky coffee tree out on the market now. It'd be really awesome if they came out with a podless catalpa. That would be awesome. Because otherwise, those are pretty solid trees. But I'll make the note of just more podless varieties. And that just helps the maintenance crew out there for sure too.
Yeah.
And that site looks like it's gonna be pretty exposed though on the west side, isn't it?
Yes. And I was just looking at like it I don't know, we don't get very many eastern winds, but it was nice. This row of trees probably at least kept it pretty windy on any eastern wind days, I guess. But yeah, those spruces have all grown up and they've been limbed up, so they're not really serving their purpose quite as a windrow.
Can you bring that back up on our screens again?
Oh, sorry about that. Yes.
Thank you. So, I keep driving by there and then we never go in. Is there a main entrance off of County Line Road or
Yeah.
Well 1, Larimer 13 there? Right
Yeah,
now?
there's a lot of entrances.
The only one I see is that one off of 56, but
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, it's really, there's no, and maybe this will change, but there is really no designated flow of traffic. I think this just being a double wide entrance down here,
No.
that's what people consider the main entrance.
Okay.
But, you know, there's, oh, okay, so they'll, like, this will be a right turn exit only, and this will be a maintenance vehicle exit
Uh-huh.
only. So,
I think that's the way they are right now.
yeah, pretty much. It's not fun to pull out of this one.
So that, okay, that top part,
Mhm.
which says existing in-ground snowplows, because the previous thing you had, it had three colors, the west, the north, and then the south.
Mhm.
And so the northern part is in use, yeah, there you go. The
Yeah.
northern part is in use now, that yellowish
Yeah.
one, okay.
Yep.
So-
I think that's the flat area. There's no actually above ground tombstones
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
And I think pretty much any spot that could have a traditional gravestone is pretty much taken up down here. So I think that was the intent,
yeah,
was to, get back to.
yeah, they say in-ground stone plots on the west side, existing in-ground on the north side. There's already
Oops, sorry.
already two columbariums up there.
Do you have any, maybe unusual trees that have done well on that site?
Mm. There's these two trees. I don't know if you can see my cursor.
Mhm.
See in the upper part of the screen.
Uh-huh.
Those are two really, probably some of our biggest horse chestnut trees or buckeye trees up there. We've probably got, yeah, those have got to be the two biggest ones in town that I can think of. And otherwise, it is a ton of ash, junipers, and spruces. And it's a very, yeah, just that. We we have one of I think one of the only ones I can think of in town, but a mountain ash down here, and that thing's just barely struggling to like get a grip. We thought it was done for, and this year it's actually looking pretty good. But I mean, it's looked like a freshly planted tree for years now.
Wow.
I'd love to see more mountain ash planted, but every single one I've seen here in town is just
Struggle.
yeah, it's not in great shape, and those are pretty slow growing trees, unfortunately. So I think this new section would add a lot of opportunity for biodiversity out there.
We've got a blank slate, really.
It'll be yeah, pretty fun.
So what's the time frame that you're looking for feedback?
Just I don't know if you got me now, or if you ever want to email me again with just like any cool varieties that you might hear about from neighbors or other people in the industry. It's all
Okay.
sometimes stuff slips in under my radar, and yeah, just let me know.
Okay.
Expansions of the cemetery. Suggested things.
Right.
We again, because these are more conceptual designs right now, I think this is just the layout they have decided on. I'm sure when we get closer to more construction documents, I can actually bring in any kind of placement or what trees are going to go where. I'm sure we'll actually get construction documents, and then I'll be able to bring those back and we can review them. But yeah, as of right now, I think they'll just pick off that staple list right there for just what to put where. I think more smaller flowering ornamental trees would be kind of nice. I'd love to see more like apples and maybe cherries. Maybe just more apples. But I think just having if we had a lot Yeah, I could see that being kind of a cool appeal in the spring when everything starts to bloom. It might bring a little bit of color to the cemetery.
A big tooth maple?
Yep.
You have that on your list?
I actually don't know.
I didn't see it on there.
Yeah, I've only been reading and learning about that one within the last year. I know I wrote that list about a year ago, so that probably didn't make it to that list. We've got a couple that we got from our tree order this year, and I'm excited to plant them and see how they do. In fact, I think that would be a great one for the Wagner, that North Strip, what we were talking about last time. I think that would be a great one there because it's pretty native to Western
Right.
U.S. and it's very colorful and
Kind of mid-size too, aren't they?
yep.
Yeah, we got two that we planted on Spartan, and
Yes, you did.
yeah,
I saw. Yeah.
one died for I don't know why, but they were planted at the same time, same procedure, everything. But the one closest to Fifth Street seems to be doing okay, but the one mid block is just,
Not so much.
yeah, the bark just peeled off of it.
I don't know if they, did you do that after, or was it during the construction?
No,
phase?
just did it last fall.
Recently.
okay.
Yeah.
Somebody donated those two trees. Those were two places that we needed to try to get trees back up to match the others that are growing along Spartan, and that one just didn't make it. So I wrapped it, I fed it
Yeah, it looked like it was well cared for.
for a while, and
Yeah.
then all of a sudden it just
There's also a caddo maple, CADDO.
I would definitely like to see more of those. Just also giving people another option for another maple
Exactly.
that's not a autumn blaze or a red or a silver maple. I think once they start to see those around town, maybe they'll kind of get on board with them.
That's PADDO.
C is in
Okay,
Charlie.
okay.
Yeah.
And Paul, if I could ask, we haven't had any issues with the hot wings around town. All of those look pretty good
Yeah.
from what I've seen.
They do pretty well.
I just prefer the tree form, and I know those can be a little. I mean, they're just at a little bit of a premium. They're usually sold in a shrub form, but out at Pioneer, now that they're reaching their maturity, they're just so brittle, and they'll like lose branches just in like any slight wind. And
Oh,
so I think the tree forms just hold up a little better. They just don't start with like this really bad branching angles at the base, and so. But yeah, definitely those are really good in Colorado.
They're, what's it called, Pattern Perfect, I think. Have you heard of that?
Is that a
Cetarian.
Cetarian?
It's supposed to have a better structure to them
Oh, okay.
in a tree form.
And what was it? Pattern?
Pattern Perfect.
you want to pass that back down. I think that was Lynn's.
Anybody can make notes on it? I give it to Paul.
I'm taking some notes.
You
here.
got it?
I probably should update that with these couple of varieties. Do I have red wings or Cetarian maple on there?
We can always print it out again from your emails.
Not wings. Yeah, and I also say it's shrub type. I should probably specify that tree types are a little better.
Are hot wings the ones that have those red
Keep that.
colors on
Okay.
them?
Okay.
Jot your notes right on it. So.
Those came out of Fort Collins, actually, Fort Collins Nursery. I
Mhm.
think.
CSU developed them.
Would you call them hot wings?
Hot wings.
Yeah.
They're red.
Pioneer's got a
red,
bunch of them.
They're in Pioneer Park around the structure up there.
Okay, that's the ones. That's the one that the branch blew down on. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and yeah, they do great. Cetarian maples are really good. It's just like the one downside is it's a maple and it doesn't have the most showy fall color, but the hot wings came in with those nice red
Those red things, yeah.
The seeds, and those really, you see them everywhere. They got really popular really
Yeah,
quick.
there are a lot of them.
One other one I thought of with the maple too is box elder maple. You had good, bad experience with those?
I'm seeing pretty good, like some pretty good. We have a couple. The ones I look at all the time are the ones on Mountain, right before you get to Berthoud Parkway. That row of trees along the side of the north side of the road there.
Is it-
We have a couple of box elders, and they do pretty good. They're actually seeming like they're growing the best out there. Actually, they're having a great year. But we just asked. It's even on our recommended tree list that they're sensation box elder.
The sensation.
Sensation,
Yeah.
right.
But yeah, those are pretty nice. Ours haven't really like shown any midsummer color like that bronzing or anything like that. I've seen some around town that take on more of like a bronze or an orange color, kind of midsummer, and it's not in like an unhealthy way.
Yeah.
So those definitely do have a little more appeal than just most other trees.
They don't suffer the chlorosis like a lot of the others.
Yeah.
I don't think, do they?
I guess I don't know. I know they're probably going to want some large shade trees. Maybe I can steer them away from just doing a ton of honey locust out there.
Please.
Yeah. We are probably borderline overplanting honey locust these days. But they still do good. It's just they do good, but what's going to be the thing that their EAD basically? That's what I'm waiting on.
I think you're right though, Paul, to just generally push more of the smaller, kind of medium-sized stuff, the ornamentals out there, just from a maintenance standpoint.
Yes, like
And
Russian hawthorns are a 3-season interest. They do really well. And they're pretty attractive. But they're not a big canopy tree.
Yeah.
And it's just that those are hard to grow here.
Yeah, I would just use those more selectively,
Mm.
honestly.
I'll see if there's any desire to really get large shade trees out there, and with ash off the board, that leaves like honey locust and elms, which elms can do okay. I think under the right care, we could get some good looking elms out there. But yeah, I mean, yeah, a lot of the stuff is just slow growing still. Kind of slow to it, but this one should have a better irrigation system, an actual irrigation system. Everything actually south of this road. If you've ever driven by there, and there's big metal pipes out there. That's how they water it. A very old school. It was really the only way that's ever been watered. But the northern section up here actually has irrigation, and I'm sure this will get a nice overhaul. And actually, I think whenever this starts getting worked on, I think they're actually trying to work some modern irrigation into the old section. So hopefully we'll start to see a little more water coming to our trees out there, which is much needed.
Mind if I ask, Paul?
Yeah.
Are you aware of any raw water tie-in up there? Or is it all potable?
I'm not sure. The pipes just hook up straight to like these pipes that come out of the ground over here. We call them hydrants. They're like 2.5-inch pipes, so there's a ton of water pressure. That might be raw water, but just based off the flow and all that. But it might also still just be potable.
Maybe ask around. That's fine.
I mean, I know the town is trying to work more towards more potable or non-pot systems all over. So with going into this design, maybe they'll just implement that from the start if they have a non-pot system like or tie-in available out there. So
As long as they don't cross connect.
well, that's a good list. I like it. I will definitely bring that to the discussion going forward. Anything on any evergreens? I know evergreens are always a good coniferous trees. Those are always good to go with. Sometimes they are also a little slow going, and spruces are pretty good. Also, another thing we might be able to do is if they really wanted to go this route, we could tree spade in blue spruces out there, kind of like we did at the bike park.
Yeah.
Start with some bigger candidates. Those ones out at the bike park are actually really performing well. I mean, we're definitely giving them tons of water, but we haven't even seen one struggle with such a stressful replanting for such a mature tree. And I would vouch for some blue spruces to get spaded in, something like that.
To get something bigger,
Yeah.
faster. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for the feedback on that, guys. Yeah, and again, if you hear of anything cool or think of anything, feel free to shoot me an email. I don't think I'll put like a time frame on it, Randy. I'll just if you guys think of anything,
Okay.
more just adds to our palette here in town going forward. So.
Okay. Are we moving on to the third quarter social media posts?
Do it.
So, again, these are just a lot of what we did last year around this time. So again, if you guys have anything, any ideas for any other posts, we can obviously switch it up. Nothing's set in stone. Although this July post, I do think this is pretty important as I'm starting to deal a lot with these trees getting in the way of sidewalks and street signs and all that stuff. Raising awareness about town codes for tree clearance will be pretty big. At least we'll get that visibility out there. Maybe a couple more people actually learn about it and heed the warning and actually get out and prune their trees. It is something that I'm sure if you walk around town or anything, you notice how low the trees are a lot. And but August will. Last year we went with just getting getting readers familiar with the licensed arborist services here in town. Again, just steering people to the fact that we have a licensed arborist list here in town that we prefer people pick from. I think that also has a little merit staying there too, or at least somewhere. If we could fit that in, I still occasionally notice a couple unlicensed tree services come through town, and maybe I can reach out to them and just tell them it's not that hard to get a license. It's really not. So, and then for September, looks like we did anything about abiotic and biotic stressors. So any kind of diseases their trees might have, any questions, might tell them to reach out to an arborist here in town. Or I get a ton of calls about people reaching out. So I'm always free to field those calls. And also, it sounds like my forestry tech might be also willing to hop in on some of those because it actually accounts for a lot of my voicemails. And so I'm always looking to free up a little time for myself so I could pass it along.
But the extension tree team will come out.
That would be maybe a good thing to
And I
have
gotta
that.
tell you, one of our things we most often suggest is you should go get a certified arborist to check this out.
Yes, I do. Yeah, thank you. But yeah, maybe we could tie kind of August and September together, and reach out.
There's still only two of you?
No, actually, we got a third guy.
I
Fine.
did get the third one.
Yep.
You ready for staff report?
Can we hit some non-agenda items first?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Well, you missed that. That was number 4.
Well,
Sorry.
just moving through it so fast.
Just because there was no public here.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, go for it.
So the posters for the calendar, I guess we didn't have a chance to get them to Tony. Do we want to take another month to try and get that done? Tony, are you still online with us?
So I tried to talk and you didn't hear me.
Oh,
Okay.
must be my phone.
Okay. Do you think with your new job that you would have time to be able to get through the posters in the next 3 weeks or so?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't work at night, but just long enough that I don't make meetings.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then I can get them to whoever.
Probably back to me.
Paul or you,
Yeah.
either of you.
Okay. So Hannah did bring them tonight. I'll try to get your address here after the meeting. I can swing by, drop them off tonight, and then give you some additional time. Because I was trying to set a schedule for trying to finalize everything by September. So I think if we have one more month to try to get the posters chosen, then
Yeah, before I lose my blue sheet.
I know.
yeah.
I almost forgot it tonight.
Well, I can collect them now and start to
Yeah, why don't we do that?
collect the votes just to see, it'll advance us a little bit further when we do get to that point. So, did you put your name on it?
I know. Well, I was like, oh, I could set, like, I was trying to do it in real time on the form and then I was like,
Yeah,
no.
put your name on it.
Yeah, I just did piles and it kept narrowing them down.
I had it.
Oh, names? Okay.
I did that last month, like,
Did I do
It's just gonna be anonymous.
Well, so much for anonymous.
Maybe next year we'll have the adults do the cartoons and the kids can vote on us.
On my end, should I figure out how, or if we can use their full names on these? I know that,
Liability?
yeah, or what we might have to do, because if we do come up with like 12 names or 12 plus people, at least we might have some of their phone numbers and we can reach out about if there's a form they need to sign, or at least just letting the parents know that their kid's name is going to be in a calendar. I don't know. I could start doing some back end work.
Yeah, that was one of the questions that I put on that list of things that I wanted to discuss when we got into the calendars. Because they do give the kids' first and last name and the school that they go to right there on the calendar. And I think that can be, I'm surprised that they are still doing that at this day and age. So, we could probably put first name, last initial, not list the school necessarily, but I'd like to see what the legal ramifications of that would be before we make any decision on that.
Because maybe instructions next year, we should have them put their name and school on the back side, so it's not visible with the poster
But we
itself.
can wipe the names out,
Yeah.
so, because that top portion is where they put all the information. So,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Yeah.
the information's up
Oh.
there, we can just take the
Okay.
poster part of
Oh,
it
sure, sure.
and use it, so. Okay.
There was one family tree in there. You remember that? It had like all the names of the family.
Oh. I don't remember that one.
I was gonna touch base with you, Paul. Had you discussed that with any other staff, like Stephanie, whether we have a media release form currently?
Apparently we do, something like that, I guess for like, social media, something like that.
Okay.
But yeah, or something that might just be able to, just switch a couple words and
Yeah.
use it for this instance.
Okay.
It just might start a process.
Yeah.
It was hard enough to get a hold of the 3 winners, so let alone like 12 or 20 more favorites. Sure.
Oh, okay.
Okay, well, you might be able to task us with some of that if we're allowed
Mhm.
to make that contact, cause I
Sure.
think we could probably reach out and get those
Mhm.
signed.
Okay.
If that's what needs to be done to put them on the calendar, so.
Yeah. So let us know how that unfolds.
I feel like there could be issues with him giving us phone numbers.
Yeah, even that, I was like.
I feel uncomfortable contacting a family
Mhm.
personally.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cause I'm not like
Well,
a town
so how we're gonna do
representative,
this?
you know?
Yeah. I can also reach out to Windsor and just see,
What their process was
like,
and how it was vetted. Yeah.
exactly.
Okay.
Maybe it's something, I don't know. I could put a contract
Well,
as part of the.
For our
poster.
our first year trying to do this, we should try to keep it as simple as possible.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, like part of, signing your name is like, you agree to have this be, your name.
Yeah.
The parent permission thing on the bottom, they could take it home and
Yeah.
have their parents sign it next
Yeah.
year.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's just something to refine for years going forward. It just becomes a
Sorry to
tradition.
deal with it, but we do.
Yeah. The second topic I wanted to bring up was the EAB again.
Mhm.
I saw that in Loveland, apparently they did have a discovery of several of the beetles. So I didn't know if there has been more feedback as to whether they jumped over us or whether you've seen any here in town or.
I see, suspicious trees, but there's always suspicious trees. There's been suspicious trees for like 10 years now. Every time I get a voicemail about that where a homeowner is like, I think my tree's got it, I prioritize that. I go out, take whatever I can. One lady had one right on the street and I was like, I'm bringing my bucket truck out. I'm going up. And so, as far as I know, nothing. It might not hurt to get out our traps next year and start trapping. Also, I think just I've been thinking about this a lot lately. I think I might need to have a serious talk about getting or hammering out some more details with an EAB cost share for private trees.
Yeah,
stuff like
just
that.
the backyard trees.
Yeah. And then also a understory reforestation. It was kind of my idea with tree planting cost share, and maybe with EAB being the town over, it might put a little more emphasis on why this is important. Granted, we are treating most of the ash in the right of way, so we shouldn't see a cataclysmic die off of all of our ash trees or anything like that. But the ash are just starting to age out anyway. It's something that I think most people, if we can get them to move towards understory planting, it's going to benefit many generations down the road.
The newspaper article, I can't remember whether I passed it on or not. It was in the Denver Post, but it was a Reporter Herald article. So they were talking about the Loveland discovery, and then they said Berthoud had it in 2019.
Oh
So I guess that must be that one that you keep talking about
Yeah.
on the west side, southwest over here.
Yep.
In the Berthoud zip code, but not in the
Yeah.
town limits. right?
Unincorporated Berthoud, and as we've held out, even with it being that close, it not landing in town, which has been amazing.
So we got some bad publicity out of that one.
Well, and honestly, the only way it got into Loveland that fast because where it was in Loveland was right in the middle of Old Town Loveland. It wasn't on the north side or
On the edge, yeah.
yeah, it wasn't on the edge of town anywhere. It was smack dab in the middle of like Old Town Loveland, and they suspect moving firewood. And so again, maybe it'd be a good idea to really start bringing our EAB, all of our EAB stuff to anytime we go out in public. The don't move firewood, you know, really.
October?
Yeah,
I was
October.
gonna say the October social media post, yeah.
Yeah. Because I don't know, and it just takes one person, and it might have been what happened in Loveland. Just company just was like, yeah, I'll take your firewood, good wood, and yeah.
It's good
So-
firewood.
I think it's just yeah. I mean that it's as far as I know, it's still not here, but it's it doesn't help me breathe any easier that now our town to the north has it, and Loveland has a much more limited budget on EAV treatments. They have a fraction of what we have, and it's really only like prized historical trees. So it'll be interesting to see how it works its way through Loveland. It's if we want to, well, if you want a good view of it, keep your eyes on Loveland on how quickly it'll spread, how quickly we start to see ash, tank. If you drive through Boulder, it's hard to see what used to be there because it's all been removed now, but you still see just dead ash trees everywhere, kind of like in the process of dying. It already has had its way with Boulder, and they're all gone, and anything that's still there though is still being protected though, which is pretty cool. So that's a testament that these treatments do work. Actually, a lot of times when I drive through Boulder, that company I used to work for, I still drive by trees and I'm like, I treated that property and they still have wonderful, nice looking ash trees. And so I know that which property is treated and all that. And yeah, so you can definitely like get through this. It's just going to take effort and a little bit of investment, but
You know, the people in Loveland that I was reading about, they were advocating for just cutting down the ash trees to get rid of the problem.
it just reach the end goal quicker.
Yeah, it's like zap.
Yeah.
It must have been a different article than the one I
Once
saw.
it's
Well, I think
infected.
the stuff I was reading was on Nextdoor.
Oh, okay.
They can get
It's like if it's gonna die anyway, you might as well enjoy like 5 more years of shade. Before, it's not like these beetles are like blood sucking or anything. They're not gonna like attack people. It's just that they are gonna kill off a large population of trees. So.
All right, Kathy, that's all I had.
Any other non-agenda items, folks?
Could I mention on the social media posts? As far as maintenance goes, like we talked about, I think in the spring, but for supplemental watering on trees this time of year, especially given the weather we've had.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. I'll see if we can. I'll see if I can sweet talk Stephanie into maybe getting a couple more posts a month. I know she posts a lot, but it'd be great if we could get more than just like one post a month, and then maybe we could start to really get some important information out there because it's been rough driving around. This weekend hit trees pretty hard. There's like full trees in wilt.
Yeah.
Trees is starting to sacrifice branches and all this stuff, and it's stuff most people might not see, but I see it just happening everywhere. Like this was a hot weekend. If those trees haven't been well watered up to this point, they're definitely showing it, and yeah, it's kind of rough to see.
I wonder if we should prioritize that message above the street clearance.
Yeah, we could possibly do that. I just like I would like to get a clearance one out before the end of summer. While you can still tell which branches are in.
Yeah, I see it a lot, so I definitely know it's a problem, but just seeing as that seems to be an issue, because I keep thinking like, what are our core priorities? Like, it's education. How does EAB fit into it? EAB is a priority for sure, but it's just, I just keep, there's a lot we could do with trees. And
Just curious.
Curious.
And water's critical.
yeah,
Yeah.
like how do we prioritize?
And I could, another outlet we have is our, the water bill or the newsletter that comes out with the water bill. I
Ah.
can still see if we can, maybe just get a little postage stamp size like tag on the end. It's just like,
What is the water bills?
Yeah.
True.
yeah, I'm sure that's a
point.
great lead in, like, oh, hey, by the way, you should water your trees more.
You
Like,
pay us-
how much they
you
spend
pay
on
us
water.
a lot,
this
so-
year.
Oh, maybe that's not such a good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well-
yeah.
I already
You
saw
know,
it.
a grown tree needs,
Way up.
this many gallons of water.
Mine went way up and my grass still doesn't look, because I'm still not watering it enough.
Any other non-agenda items? Are we ready for the staff report?
Trees are good.
Um,
I need the website name, trees are good.
I use that a lot, actually. Looking up if somebody's actually an arborist and stuff like that. So let's see, I'll flip forward a couple. So, is our new guy, Richard. He comes from Highlands Ranch. He's a Colorado native, but he grew up more in Pueblo, southern Colorado. But he worked for 2 years for Highlands Ranch on their forestry department down there. He moved up north here just to be with his family and applied here. He had great resume for a lot of the ones that we got. And we brought him on, and he's been doing great. We are going to have to get him trained up with ISA certification. He was in the process of getting one, so he was working towards that at Highlands Ranch, but just left too soon. So he said he pretty much was ready to take the test. He left there at like the worst time, and so he's not too far away from being ISA certified, and he's definitely got a lot of experience in the forestry realm. So that's awesome. Sorry guys, 1 sec. I just noticed the YouTube is not displaying a screen that is not what I wanted to see. It's just stuck on the cemetery designs.
Mhm.
So much stuff to hammer out. But anyway, we'll just keep moving. So now with my other forestry tech having a partner out in the field, they've been kind of back to up to speed with how they were this spring when they were back up to 2 people. It's been great. Helps me focus on these more higher level things rather than making sure my guys are supported out there. So one thing they got out of the way was some stump grinding out at the cemetery. Unfortunately, we are not really making more planting spots, rather just getting them out of the way for maintenance. Again, because a lot of these might have a gravestone, like literally right next to them. So we had some storm damage up in a hangar above Fickle Park. So we felt like it was a good chance to send our new guy up there and see how he did. The department he worked in, they came from 60-foot bucket trucks and climbing, so our 45-foot bucket truck was really nothing for him to get adjusted to. So just some mild storm damage cleanup, and then a lot of just clearance, keep it on our clearance pruning. It's a big job for just one person, so now that they've got 2 people, they're kind of back up to full speed on that. Just a little bit of pruning over our parks. More clearance pruning on Main Street, kind of letting in a little more visibility. These elms right on 5th Street, we're starting to really get pretty low, and so we had them prune them up, looking a lot better. Here's from the other side. Definitely kind of giving them some much needed raising. So that's what, we're asking people to do here in town, justice, it's what we're doing too. We're raising everything, we're keeping everything out of, out of the way. So a little more work at the cemetery, also getting branches out of the way for the maintenance crew out there. And that's the nicest thing about it, having a 2-person crew is our bucket truck was always, we'd have to do the work and then go out and get our bucket truck to come back and, clean up. And now one person can head out with the bucket truck and one person can head out with the chip truck following them. And we're actually like almost a forestry crew, actually, got everything we need out on site. So how we would do this before is we would get everything to the ground, go and pick up our chip truck, drop off the bucket truck, come back, and then 2 people chip everything and drive around and just chip everything. So we're a little more efficient with 2 people for sure. Just a little cleanup at Roberts. We're still seeing Russian olives just popping up everywhere. So just a little Russian olive cleanup along the side of the pond there. And they've really been kind of visiting each site in town and able to give it a little more of an in-depth look and in-depth care. So also while they were at Roberts, just pruning up just some low branches on trees. So, and then I guess our tree of heaven in Pickle is blooming, so it looks beautiful right now. So definitely go check that out.
The golden rain or tree?
Or that golden rain tree, yes. Right. Misspoke. But yeah, so not a ton going on, just a lot of clearance pruning with my guys. EAB's treatments have all but wrapped up. So like I said, with 2 guys running very efficiently, working well together out in the field, hopefully I'm able to take a step back and kind of look at bigger picture stuff rather than making sure everybody's got what they need and is going to make it through a day. So I don't know. I might throw that out to you guys. Any higher level stuff we've ever talked about, like programs, anything like that. I might be starting to take another look at those again, seeing what we can do to get these programs started. Anything we can do to make our forestry department more accommodating. I feel like that's my purpose here, is to have a forestry department that works for the people. So yeah, that's all I got for the staff report.
I noticed your tree stakes out at the Wagner farm, that a lot of them haven't been pulled. I won't say a lot, but there's quite a few that haven't been pulled out yet. Do you have a stake puller?
Yeah, we've got one. It's just kind of falling through the cracks. They're not still strapped up. They're just next to the tree.
Stakes are still there.
Yeah. So we just other stuff's taking a lot larger priority right now. I know they're kind of an eyesore, but yeah.
You said something about higher programs. Right, are you thinking about like educational programs for the citizens? Would you be thinking of instituting some sort of educational programs in conjunction with the rec center, which already has that sort of stuff going on in other areas?
I didn't know that. Do they have like
I mean,
classes?
Don't they have classes out there? I thought.
Outside of fitness classes?
Is it just, I guess when I say classes, I guess it's all physical ed type of things, right?
Yeah.
The library would love to have
But the
programs
library,
Yeah, but the
about
library-
planting trees, caring for trees.
Yeah.
They'd love it.
they just don't
Yeah.
have a bigger facility for.
Yeah.
Well, they can handle 30 people in their
that
conference
room,
room. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe kind of coming back to the website and working on that again, refining it a little more. I know I said that, and I had written up all those drafts for a very extensive forestry page, but maybe actually refining that down to something more.
Okay.
So education's a little better. Something I could really point people to.
And the library also is welcome with podcasts.
Mhm.
And also they do the food for thought.
I actually did one of those
Yeah,
last year.
yeah. I I think that's a really good outreach.
Yeah.
Basically.
I didn't want to nag the lady who did the podcast, but you know, I felt like I was taking up a lot of time, and
We'll go for it.
I would love to be like, hey, can I come by?
Soak it up.
Because there's so much more to say. Like, there's so much more I need to tell people about the trees here in Berthoud. So
Take advantage of
Yeah.
whatever.
But
Um,
definitely rolling out the EAB programs more. I think that.
Yeah.
Cause like living in Lyons when it was there too late, like we couldn't do anything, you know, we chopped our tree down just to try to spare other trees, but like maybe that was an ignorant thing to do, you know, but I think like getting ahead of it is like, it's gonna be here soon.
I don't think it's an ignorant thing to do as much as like if you were going to cut it down to replant it, like that's the next
Then we
best
put a
thing
new
people
tree
can-
in, yeah.
Yeah, that's the next best thing you can do. Is like it sucks that we have to deal with this,
Yeah.
but you know, like you either put all those resources into saving it or just hurry up and replant a tree. You
Yeah.
know, get something that's not, you know, gonna get attacked.
Yeah. I just feel like the reaction from people, like, because we were reactive versus proactive, but just like now that we can maybe do some planning for it, I think we should.
Yeah.
If everyone agrees, obviously.
It's definitely been a far out thing for most of our for like most of these programs and plans when they were written and developed and all that. But yeah, it's only becoming more and more relevant as it's now in the town just north of us, and we are surrounded on all sides. So yeah, definitely need to find more ways to reach out to people. Yeah, I don't know. If
And like the
there's
tree
any,
canopy project that you were talking about, like all of those are like future planning. I think it's great.
I'll maybe have more time to bug my boss about
Yeah.
my bosses
Support
about
for it.
yeah, like and probably have a little more you know, explanation on why it's so important now than ever. So
Is Tony still on?
yes.
Hey, Tony, do you want to make an announcement about your ending your position here on the committee so that we can start looking for a replacement for you? When would that be effective?
My last meeting will be August,
August, okay,
so next meeting.
next meeting,
So we do need to
okay,
announce it.
yeah. So is that something that you need to get started, Paul, or is that Sean?
Well, I was gonna ask as well, who else has a term that's up in September right now? Is it just
I do
Tony?
not know.
Yeah, I know.
On the website.
Yeah.
It is on the website.
I used to put our expiration dates on.
They
I
should
don't
still
know if
be.
it's on there now.
Yeah, that just, I think every September, the town clerk just kind of gets that process going, reopens, you know, applications and all that. So Kathy, Randy, Tony.
We're expiring?
Yeah,
Really?
that's in 2024,
Wow.
unless that's
Wow, that was quick.
Because I think I joined last year.
maybe, yeah, no, they should be for 2 years. I might have to,
Is it
Unless you
true?
were filling out.
Yeah,
finishing.
it's for 2 years, but because when I signed up, they were having troubles getting people in.
Mhm.
They gave me a 4-year term and then, Joe got a 3-year term. Because they were trying to get people in
Mhm.
to stay in, because we were so understaffed.
Yeah.
But the terms are supposed to be for 2 years.
Okay, that's it.
And Amy and I just got reappointed last year, so we have 1 year to go.
yeah, Lynn, it says yours is 2025 and Amy is 2025, so.
And actually, we were appointed late in the year, so technically we didn't even get our full 2 year term in the first time around.
Well, so I guess so I'm up, you're up, and Randy. I guess what do we do with that? Do we
Well,
apply?
Yes, you reapply, you
Yep.
get the form and put
Okay.
another application in.
Mm-hmm.
And I urge all three of you to do that right away.
Well
Just-
then,
and the
okay.
Forms, I think, are on the website. You can check with
You
Christian.
can see that Christian's got them posted or
Yeah,
Yeah,
interface with you guys too.
so here's the, I don't know if it's on here, it might be on a higher page of the government tab. How to participate maybe. But yeah, that's over here.
Yep, 2024, whoa.
I can't believe it's been 2 years already.
I know.
So yeah, that'll be coming up in September. So I'll just make that note.
Thank God Almighty for your last.
No, they usually start advertising in August so that they can
Yeah, I'm
They
sure
can interview
Christian will put it out in
interview in
August and
September.
stuff.
That's right, it's just coming
Usually
up.
takes a while.
Mhm.
Well,
So I'll bring that up to
it's a
the
good
clerk
thing.
that we might need to open ours up a little early. It probably wouldn't hurt to have it open for a little longer than
Yeah.
it's really only like a half a month that you're like the information's out there and then we're already doing interviews. It seems
Yeah,
like.
yeah, it goes fast.
The bottom line is we'll have 4 openings and 3 of you hopefully will reapply, so we have one open opening.
Yeah. Well, so I guess the purpose is to get new people in. Like, do you want us to
Yeah,
reapply?
see, that's my
or-
question too.
Well, how
I'd
many
love
years
to
you been in?
continue, but
I'm
I
in
know.
my second of 2 2-year terms, and so.
I'm just trying to understand what the spirit behind the
Mhm.
requirement is, which is to get new people.
Let's put it this way, the 3 of you, well, and Rick down there, you know, you guys know more about trees than I do. I applied because I just wanted to get involved, but I really sort of feel like I was a space filler so that we had a full committee and could keep quorums going, you know?
No, I think we'd very much be happy to have you guys for another term. We're always looking for new blood, but it's also like when you get on these committees, there's kind of a learning curve. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
to pick up on things, to understand where things are at and where things can go and, yeah. So it's up to all of you, but I would be surprised if you were not reappointed.
I'm gonna throw my 2 cents in there. I urge the 3 of you to reapply. I did basically a double, I mean, technically, even though it was only 1 term, I did a double term. But there's gonna be a new person that's going to replace me. If we can keep the new people to a minimum so that they can learn from all of the, old folks.
The decorum and all
The
that.
veterans.
I liked it better.
There you go, thank you. The veteran.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would definitely, if it wasn't for the fact that, I have this new job and it just really is not feasible for me to be there anymore, I think it's really important that there is, in-person, at the meeting. So, yeah, I'm not gonna be able to do that anymore and I don't know when that would ever happen. So, it might even get worse because the job might go a little later, so. But, yeah, so I just encourage you 3 to reapply and be there for any new person that's coming in.
Yeah, I wouldn't, fret that if you don't know that much about trees, because your advice is just as a tree like minded citizen of Earth, it is also like just as valuable. This is
Yeah.
I don't need a board full of like tree scientists and
Yeah.
experts. We probably just talk forever about a tree or something for 2 hours, but so like the more practical of what you'd like to see in your community is also very good input.
Yeah.
Or just what you see in your community too. Like you guys are my eyes out there. You come in and tell me something that's happening in your neighborhood, and I go out and find out what's been happening in your neighborhood. So yeah, I mean it definitely reapply.
Okay. One last thing for you, Tony. Could you email your address to me so when I get outside and get a signal, I can swing by your place and drop off these posters?
Or
I sent it to your cell phone already.
All right, thank you.
I was gonna say I could take them, and my shop's pretty close. And if you'd rather come pick them up at the shop, maybe we could arrange that too. Or if you're
No, I think she's been inconvenienced enough. I'll take ownership of this and get them to her, and then make sure I get them picked up again. So.
all right.
Anything else? Any other announcements? Yes.
This question for Paul, we brought up the tree carving
Mm.
Yes.
earlier.
Mhm.
And since people are gonna start cutting down all their ash trees, something to look. But just wondering if you had any more, people wanting to do that or heard anything more about it?
I don't know. It'd be interesting to kind of do a survey and
Mhm.
see how many people would actually consider that. You know, I felt like it was a very niche thing that would really only apply to one neighborhood in town, and definitely to people who could afford it. So I felt it was very niche and might not even really need a cost share, but it might be something where it has more appeal than what I assume. So, but yeah, we could definitely pick that up a little more. And it was something that my Keith, my boss, brought up to me. I don't even know if it went, above him to like town administrator, town deputy, or deputy of public works, anything like that. So yeah, I don't even know their input on it actually. So.
Just kinda wondering about it. That one always catches my eye whenever I'm over in that area. It just
Yeah. It was very well done.
stands out, yeah.
Who was that one again?
Fifth and Turner.
Turner,
Yeah.
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 Fifth, okay, I guess I was looking in the wrong spot.
Is there one in front of a school?
Yep.
Okay.
The school did that one.
I
Yeah.
love that one.
It's a stallion for the
Yeah.
Ivy Stallions. So that's pretty cool.
Anything else? Announcements? All right, our next meeting will be August 19th at 5 PM. And we stand adjourned at 6:09. And everybody applying, you need to
Probably missed it.
Yeah.
Spirited. Was busy up north.
You too.